The hardest identity for me to process and self-reflect on this semester was definitely race. I still remember everyone telling me being white still means you have a story, and not having a story is a story. To be honest, most of the time hearing this just made me roll my eyes and view it as mumbo jumbo that didn't really make sense. I thought it was just words without any real meaning being used to as a way to make white people think about what it means to be white. I still don't know if I understand it completely, but through this class, I began to realize what having a story meant while not even realizing it and what that means to me. The illustration, "A fish doesn't know that they're swimming in water," helped me to understand that it means for me to have a story, even if I didn't even realize I had a story. I'd heard this illustration in other classes, but through hearing other people's experiences and stories with race, I began to realize that I had been swimming in my own white privilege water without even knowing it. I know it's cheesy. Before coming to Madison, before coming to college, I never even considered what it meant to be white in the United States, because literally everyone in my hometown was white, except maybe two families that I can remember. But my family had told me stories about the Cabreras and how they are always causing trouble in the town. And we babysat a black girl when I was younger. And I remember my mom telling us it was because her parents were always getting into trouble and weren't good parents. So I learned that Latina kids only cause trouble and that black parents weren't suitable to be good parents at a young age. I learned that at a young age. Looking back, I can see those two instances specifically caused me to have single stories about Latina, and black individuals. But I think implied by those comments was the idea that while they were not normal or appropriate, my family was normal and was appropriate. So my mind then automatically views white as normal and people of color as not, as well as automatically thinking white as appropriate and people of color as not appropriate or troublemakers. In college, I've tried to change my mindset with some success, but I still tend to default to my biased thinking when it's convenient for me to do so. Like when my good friend Anna invites me to many rallies and marches to stand with students of color on campus. I saw my white privilege allow me to choose to not to go to any marches just because I didn't want to go and possibly feel embarrassed or judged by others because of my choice. Because I chose not to go, nothing would really be different for me. I would still have my white privilege and wouldn't suffer for not going. For students of color, not participating or not even having the rallies and marches at all could mean that they continue to be oppressed because of their color of their skin. I think reflecting on the decision to not take part in any of those events makes me think about my allyship with people of color, and I think about if I'm actually working with others to help or just providing lip service while refusing to make myself uncomfortable in the work that's needed. I think that if I take being an ally to people of color seriously, I would be more willing to step out of my comfort zone and put myself in spaces where I don't necessarily have control. With all the polarization in the country right now in race relations, specifically black and white citizens, using my white privilege to advocate alongside, not speaking over, but working alongside students of color can be very powerful if I can be okay with being uncomfortable. This will also be applicable in my near future moving to South Dakota to teach, most likely on the Rosebud Native American Reservation. I have stereotypes about Native Americans just like any other ethnic group. And when I go to the job, and when I got the job, all I heard from others, mainly from white friends, was, "Wow, good for you, that's going to be really hard with all the alcohol and drug use out there." And I also have those thoughts, specifically when I was reading about the possible reservations I could be placed at, and one of the 4 possibilities was a dry reservation. I thought that would be nice because then I'm sure there would be way less alcoholics on the reservation. I think that choosing to move to the reservation is just one way this class has helped me learn about my own white privilege. I don't know if I would choose to move to the reservation, which honestly kind of scares the heck out of me, without learning about allyship and learning about my own privilege and how others suffer because of their skin color. Hopefully my work with Native American kids is just one example in a long list of me using my white privilege to work with disadvantaged individuals to break down not only systemic racism in this country, but my own stereotyped views and single stories on disadvantaged racial groups.